Back in the late 50s, if you had $2,995, you might have been able to take one of these babies home. This car here, this 1958 Porsche Speedster, is an iconic car. It's a car that I've always loved, and today I have the keys and I get to take it for a 1-mile drive. So this car here, some might even say, even though it looks vintage and looks very classic, looks very original, there are some things about it that makes it qualify as an ÜnStock, a modified 356. The owner of this car bought this car in 1966, I believe. So from 1958 being new to 1966 to when he picked it up, it became a rust bucket. Can you imagine your new car in 8 years became a rust bucket? But he saw the future. He saw that he could polish it up. He could weld the floors. He could do all this stuff to have this beauty someday. And what a beauty it is. Now, some might think things on here are aftermarket, but if you look at the car decks of this car, there's a lot of things on here, options, a very well optioned Speedster. Let's start with these headlight covers. These are original OEM headlight covers. The beautiful wheels here. Now, you can't really see anything that's not stock here, but underneath there are actually, it's an upgraded roll bar. So that's one option on the car that's been upgraded on. All beautiful Speedsters have this gold lettering here. That's iconic lettering. If you move down to the side here, we see this piece, I believe, was original to the car, the original vinyl. Since 1958 he's had this. There's some things in here that he has cleaned up a bit as he restored the car. You know, the seats are refinished here, the dash, there's an added clock, radio for tunes while you're driving, but it's still very, very basic. It's a very Spartan car. The Speedster was built as sort of a bare bones sports car. You know, the 356s, the normal coupes and such, seemed to, you know, a little bit more luxury compared to this car. And this car was really for the US market. It wasn't really a European thing. We wanted something that was distilled and was more performance oriented. Check out these armrests. There's nothing on this door card except for this armrest to make it a little bit more comfortable while you're driving along. Just like modern day Porsches, you know, when you look at the rear wheels, often the camber is quite aggressive. The same goes for the Speedster of the era. It had pretty aggressive camber in the back, but you know, with the torsion bar, independent suspension, you know, if you really push this car hard, the camber would, you know, get a little too aggressive, and your alignment and such, your geometry would be thrown off. So this car actually has like a camber kit on it to make sure that it stays more vertical and have the right amount of traction when you're pushing the car really hard, say like at an autocross. So there isn't much storage room in a Speedster. The front has the gas tank, has your spare. You might be able to throw a jacket or something in there, but not a whole lot. Same goes in the back. Underneath this bonnet is the engine. So an option back in the day was this luggage rack. So if you were going for a long weekend, you had your weekend bag, just strap it on here and there you go. So in 1958, when this car was ordered, it came with a 1600 motor. 1600 motor with about 60 to 75 horsepower back in the day. If you look closely here, this engine is not stock. This is an 1883 motor. The gentleman that owns this car drives it all over the country and has no problem keeping up with modern day traffic. So it is quite the hot rod. For safety measures, modern day cars have a center brake light. And if you look closely in this grille, you can see that the owner has put in an LED brake light. So not really noticeable unless you're looking for it, but when you hit the brakes, someone driving behind you will certainly see that third brake light. So with that, I'm gonna check off my bucket list and I'm gonna go for a drive. Be sure to log into your YouTube account, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a video. Best of all, it's free to do so. Let's get going. Now this is about as analog as you can get. Twist, e-brake off. Oh, my dream come true. All right, so this has drum brakes. The brake travel is pretty deep. Car's light, let's go. Man, what? This is just, I wish you could see this view that I have. time machine. Big rim steering wheel, beautiful dash with the leather. We have a beautiful day here in Maryland. Now, of course, this is a pumped up engine, so it's got plenty of power compared to a stock 356. I can see how this car would be so much fun to drive on back roads. Let's see if we can do third gear. Look at that, like a pro. Bounces around a bit. The seats have like this sort of floaty effect to it. You can see the grin. That's just, man, what a dream it is to be able to drive this car. Now the owner often drives this car second gear up to like 50 miles an hour. So for this back road that we're on, we could probably stay in second. Oh, what a dream. Steering is very light. Of course, there's no power steering, but you've got very skinny wheels and a big rimmed steering wheel. So steering takes very little effort. What I like about it is it's very direct. I mean, just any movement of the steering wheel, you're changing direction. You know, there's some modern day cars that don't have that direct feel to the steering wheel. What a joy it is to drive this thing. I don't know if it's nostalgia or if it truly is the performance of this car, but I could sit here all day. As you hit the brakes, you are reminded it is drum brakes. They work fine. They just, takes a little bit more pedal effort. And this car would have no problem keeping up with modern day traffic, especially on back roads. It's got plenty of power. Oh, what a dream. Have I said it's a dream? It feels like it's a dream. If I didn't have this modern car in front of me, I could almost daydream a little bit and feel like, I was driving in backcountry roads back in the 50s and 60s. So the amazing ride has come to an end. Time for the ratings. So we've actually got 4 ratings now. The very first one is car show and how it would rate at a car show. Man, you roll up in a car like this, every head turns, big smiles. It's a beautiful shape. It's an iconic shape. This car is going to go to the front of the line. The only thing I guess if I were to give it a 10, it would be maybe because this color is a little bit more conservative. This light ivory and red, it's a beautiful color combination, don't get me wrong, but it's not like wild and crazy, right? So I'm going to give it a solid 9. It's certainly going to be parked up front with all the beautiful cars at your local car show. As far as drivability, daily drivability, the owner used to drive this on a daily basis for a decade. Kudos to him. This thing doesn't even have side windows. It has like curtains and it has like a rag top that you can put on that just is probably just like putting on a hat. It's not completely sealed, but he's a diehard. He's a diehard and he drove it every day. But as far as a daily driver for this, especially in today's world now with the value of these cars, as a keeper of the car, you obviously want to enjoy it, but you also want to protect it and you don't want to put it in circumstances where it might get damaged or the probability of it might get damaged is high. So I want to say on the daily driver side, it's only going to score about a 2. Again, don't take it as a negative. We're trying to save this car for future generations to enjoy. Long haul, again, this, the owner of this car, he drives it clearly across the country without even hesitating one bit. For the average person hopping into a car that doesn't have windows, doesn't really have any creature comforts of AC or ventilation. It has little wipers that I think they work, but you can probably just put your hand out here and wipe the rain with your hand. Me personally, and I think to most people, you wouldn't get in this car and drive it, more than, I would say, 4 or 5 hours. So the scale's gonna slide down in terms of long distance driving. I would say this is also probably about a 2. Now don't hate me for all of you that have 356s out there and you guys do the long distance. I'm just saying in general, this is what people would probably give it. And the last one, this is a new category for us, and it's the fun to drive factor. And this car is just gonna go straight to the top. I mean, for me to have the honor of driving a Speedster, not only is it beautifully restored, it's actually modified a bit to be enjoyable with modern day traffic. I'm gonna give this car a 10. Call me crazy, but having an 1883cc motor in there, the wind in your hair, the ultimate analog feel. Yeah, it's a 10. To me, it's a 10. If you guys disagree, put a note down below. But until you've driven a Speedster like this, you can't come at me. You can't come at me. This is definitely, for me, a 10. So if you've enjoyed the video, I hope you enjoyed the 1 mile review of this 1958 Speedster. Thank you to the owner. Please, if you would, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 1,000 subscribers, and that means a whole lot to us. And each and every one of you that are watching, just by simply clicking that subscribe button, we would appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to end the show. See you next time.